And we're back. It's like nothing happened. George, welcome back. Viewers, welcome back. This is another Working Brother Talks with George McMillan III. George, I presume you are excellent, because every time that you come on and I ask you how you're doing, you always say excellent.
Yes. I pretty much have a terrific day every day. Well, okay, maybe not every day, but yeah. I try to create, I got positive mental attitude, man. Anyway.
Speaking of positive mental attitude, thank you for everybody who supports the Working Brother. It is a one-man show, and it is only me, Patreon and coffee accepted. George, we've got a couple more slides, I think, here that we can go through in your little PDF thing that you sent along. Do we want to do that? Let's do that. Yeah, we were discussing.
Just start at 93 and then we'll go over it.
Yeah, we were discussing Alina Lip covering how Gonzalo's money was pulled out under him, basically, and I'm not surprised that he was used as bait, basically, of sorts.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what he was used at. And again, going back to the Larry Johnson article about it, and there's been some other ones. Well, okay. We looked at George Eliason's videos, but his videos came out way after ours. So yeah, he parallels it.
George Eliason, you sent me that something of his. I didn't watch it, but I was going to tell you before we started recording, but we never got the chance, so I might as well tell you on air. And George, if you're watching this, you know where to reach me. So that George Eliason, I'm saying, if you're watching this, you know where to reach me, like in the comment section, among other things. I reached out to him long ago, but I had already done interviews with Texas, and Texas and him had a spat before, and Texas in person told me some things about George Eliason and his history there. So, I doubt George Eliason's going to reach out. Let's put it that way. In any case, I wouldn't be surprised if he does pop in from time to time to see what goes on in the Working Brother. That is what I was getting at. So your premise of like him maybe getting his analysis from here and from you is not a long shot at all. Yeah.
Well, again, I talked about this on Felix's show, and then your show, then Felix's show. And then, we did that on purpose. We were waiting for the time lag to see who picked it up, and he picked it up. Okay, so, and he'd never talked about any of that before, where, again, I mentioned it on Felix's show from the very beginning. If people go back and look at those videos, I realized I wasn't very good at my presentations at that point. You only get good at doing YouTube videos by doing YouTube videos. But I did mention that that the big IT firms had moved into Kiev in 2004 in just about every single one of those videos someplace. So that was why I was saying that, because people should be able to extrapolate that they're monitoring Gonzalo's comms. Again, I'm surprised that people are surprised that it occurred. It should have been obvious. Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder should have been able to see this coming.
I'm surprised. You're surprised. They're surprised. It's surprising to everyone. Everybody who missed it, that's an ongoing joke from the last episode. Yeah. We'll go watch the last episode, the last talk.
Slide set 94.
Cirillo. Yeah, 94 Cirillo.
Oh, no, Cirillo's on 92. Let's go to 90. Lena App was on 93.
Yeah.
So there's someone else whose name will not be mentioned on 94.
Oh, the vampire, the fat vampire.
Well, we don't want to make any derogatory remarks, but I'm just saying that.
Are you anti-vampire? I don't get it. Are you saying vampire is derogatory? Vampires can be nice people, man.
If I was in Transylvania, I would love vampires.
That's what I'm saying. Like the queen could possibly be a vampire. The king could be a vampire. Like, what you got? What's wrong with vampires, man? By the way, if you haven't figured it out and you just stumbled across this YouTube video, this is a comedy show. A really bad, probably the worst comedy show on YouTube.
Right, but Gonzalo did a video about a certain person that can trigger an investigation. Let me put it that way. We will now move on to the next, to 95.
Let's keep moving on.
Okay, yeah, I already went over this. It's just Gonzalo just ignored my advice. I told him early on. Yeah, Felix did the video with Rebecca Blonde. And then, the pictures in 97. Again, we won't name. I won't name the software programs that Bill Benny talks about, but they're pictured on the screen. Again, I don't know whether I get in trouble if I talk about the Bill Benny videos. I'll just tell people to watch them. I won't mention any of the subject matter. Because again,
I don't know what you're talking about. I actually can't see the screen, and I don't think you can see the screen either. So we can't actually see what's on screen now, but maybe viewers can see.
Yeah, I'm just telling people should just watch Bill Benny videos and watch what government programs he discusses.
All right.
Again, we pulled our videos down last year because I put stuff up there. Then I'm like, Bill Benny's got huge, tremendous legal fees, and I don't know how that's getting paid, but I just don't want to have the problem. So we're not gonna say this stuff on air, but people can again use his videos are on YouTube. They can access the information that they need. Same thing with
the money. Vincent?
Follow the money. They're doing it. Again, you don't need to necessarily mention the entities that may be involved, but people can just look at the screen. If they can't look at the screen, well, which U.S. department tracks the money? And and then just take a wild guess.
Federal Express.
It's a different one.
Just as federal, right?
Oh, okay. Well, the part that was accurate about Larry Johnson's criticism of Ritter is Scott Ritter.
Ritter.
That's hilarious. Angry at Gonzalo for making that video that people should not trust Scott Ritter. All right. I don't get any information from Scott Ritter or Larry Johnson or Ray McGovern anyway, so I could care less. But yes, that's actually where the feud came from. Yeah, Scott Ritter was just angry at Gonzalo, and it came across that way. Oh, okay. On slide set 102 and 100, and I guess the next ones. Okay, on 102, it's got his third video out when he was crossing the Hungarian border. Again, just to put things in a real simple dichotomy for the people that want me to simplify things. He's either a knowing asset, a coerced asset, or he's the dumbest guy in the world. Okay, his border crossing into Ukraine and him getting arrested for the third time, where then he subsequently dies, unfortunately, proves that yes, he's the dumbest guy on the planet. He and Scott Ritter's video, this part of that video that Scott Ritter did that got him kicked off of YouTube. Well, actually, Scott Ritter being kicked off of YouTube proves that he's more right than wrong, even though he's still a bull in China shop. After everything I said, Gonzalo Lira still brought his cell phone with him as he's trying to cross the border to Hungary.
Yeah, he did a couple of things where he did this, Like it's like he was asking for it, or like showing off, or
Yeah.
like it was very
So,
like it was very suspicious, like his behavior. You know what I mean?
yeah. So again, that's why I say either, he's an asset, or I said compromise, but yeah, he's either a coerced asset, I should say, or he's the dumbest guy on the planet, because he is bringing his GPS tracking device with him as he's trying to cross the border. So if they are tracking him, why would he? I mean, if he's going to try to bring his phone, he should be at least put it in a Faraday bag, right? Or you can't even turn it off. Actually, he would have to be fully in a Faraday bag, or he's got to disassemble it and remove the battery. One of the two. He did neither. He's using it. He's using Google Maps to navigate on his motorcycle. I mean, I do that too, but
Now when you're running from people, yeah, when you're like trying to be incognito.
Yeah, I'm not under any court indictments or anything. So yeah, I mean, I do. But if I were trying to stay out of people's way, I would behave differently. So then I'm wondering whether he's going to make it through the checkpoint. That would mean he's in on it. Or the second he scans his passport, the big red X is going to pop up on the border control person's screen, and they're going to detain him, which is what happened. So he's not in on it. So he's the dumbest guy on the planet. It's, just to, again, I don't mean to be mean, but I need to, his behavior going across the border was so weird. And of course, my hunch was, because I didn't mention it. Well, I mentioned it in the comment section on the video last year before we had to take it down, but I didn't put in the course of action analysis, the scenario that he was a coerced person. I really thought he was just an unwitting asset. So again, the dumbest guy on the planet scenario. So again, sorry to say, don't mean to talk ill of the dead. I'm trying to inform the living.
And basically that's in his defense, because the alternative is much worse.
The alternative is that he's a knowing asset. Yeah. But yeah, for again, Larry Johnson rather, and the other people that wrote out against Scott Ritter, yeah, they never mentioned the obvious thing that I focused on in the videos, which is they're tracking all of his electronic communications all along. And if your electronics are compromised, yes, then that person is compromised. So again, those people never addressed those things. And George Eliason never mentioned that before our videos, but I mentioned it from the very, very beginning. I didn't tell people on video why I was mentioning that big tech was in Kiev since 2004, but I told Felix and Michael behind the scenes that everything he does is going to be tracked. And sure enough, it was. So you want to go back to
slide we skipped around. Yeah, we skipped around somewhere. Hold on. Where are we? We are here. Oh, we had this meme. It's official now. Ukraine is Russia, and the president of Ukraine is President Putin. We mentioned Biden's gaffe, I believe is the term. So yeah, what were you gonna say here about Flores?
Oh, he had written something about that. Oh, I sent you those things, but I didn't even see the George Eliason video or paper or whatever it was, so I wasn't sure what he was referring to. So I just messaged him out. Well, I've been on his show before. He's very nice. He took my name off of that because what Scott Ritter did, and in my detailed link analysis, is so apples and onions. You can't compare what Scott Ritter said and what I said. I mean, they're apples and onions, because yeah, again, I did detailed link analysis. We're on slide 102. So the first 70 or 80 slides on this is a very detailed link analysis explaining how this whole thing evolved over the decades. Well, since evolved since Fletchley Park, when the OSS was with British intel during World War II. So yeah, the partnership between government and the communications companies has always been there. So again, I'm shocked that people are shocked that we did this video on their surveillance of Coach Red Pill.
Hold on one second. I gotta get you full screen, and I want to get you saying shocked. Full screen,
No,
so that people can make a GIF out of it. I want people to make a GIF of you going shocked.
No. I'm not doing the old Geraldo show from the 1980s.
This is shocking comedy content.
Yeah.
Casual knock arrests versus high risk dynamic entries. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, on 103.
Yeah.
Again, okay. After we did the videos with, I was on with Felix and Michael de la Brock, and after he was released, Gonzalo never really came out and talked about how he was arrested. When he did, it was vague and conflicting. And if you've ever had any kind of tactical training or know people that did it, I train with people who do a lot of it, right? So his story never made sense. So I was always asking if anybody had information on the old Telegram channel. And this would have been, end of April, I guess. It was, again, I'll just be blunt. The dumbasses in the comment section that had zero training in this were like, oh, why would you want to know? No, it's because by how the door teams go about it, you can tell so much about it. If they're doing a targeted hit, it's going to be a dynamic entry like it's a felony arrest or a high-value target kill capture mission. They're going to go at it like that. But as it turns out, in all the videos released, it's just people coming up, knocking on the door, asking somebody to step outside, and to grab their code and their cell phone, and they do that. So API did a few different stories on that. So the information was out there. So that's just so telling. And again, we did that in the long sections on Felix Rex last year about what that means. Again, doing structural function analysis. If the door teams are that casual about it, it means the government structure is functioning just fine, that they have time to allocate people like that. Well, why is that important? Well, Gonzalo was talking about Kharkiv as if it was the siege of Leningrad. Again, that gives him more viewership. It gives him more money, but it's not an accurate description of what was occurring in Kharkiv, obviously, because if their legal system is functioning casually, that means they're not under siege. If they were under siege, they would have anybody with a gun going to the front immediately, or they would be trying to exfil that location immediately. They weren't doing any of that. And a different aspect of that is, are they just getting one person, just a few targeted people? Okay, that would be a word of mouth. Well, it would be a human intelligence operation at that point, right? But no, they're rounding up Russian propagandists. Okay, so how are they identifying Russian propagandists? Through the electronic communications and social media. So again, it's that type of an operation. And again, I wasn't
going to interrupt, but you're asking for it. You said Russian propaganda. I'm weak to such topics. This is obviously a Russian propaganda channel, and we all know, subscribers will remember time traveling propaganda. I just want to bring attention to this. This was sent in again by Citizen 1001. Discern the humor. You may choose as you like. Is it Russian propaganda? Is it for the YouTube algorithm? Is it meme lord? Or is it reality disconnect? Or is it just working brother comedy? Which is your favorite type of comedy when you're on here, George?
Oh, well, since we're shocked that everybody else is shocked about that, I'm shocked. It's just comedy.
It's just comedy.
Yeah.
Not the reality disconnect. It's I think you'd have to. Maybe we should make this a multiple choice. Like you can select more options. You know what I mean? We'll do one of those.
Right. Yeah. So going back to it, just from watching the different API videos done at different times, it means they're going out in waves. They're collecting information. They're getting people's biometrics information out. They're getting okay. Lots of times, Gonzalo did say they were handing people's phones back, but not his. Again, why would they be handing people's phones back? Is because they've already got the IMEI numbers out of the phones of the so-called Russian propagandists, of which he's one. With him, they made him buy a new one. But they can access the new IMEIs from the phone company anyway, so they don't care. Yeah, some people in the old Telegram channel were just wondering, why is George wanting to see information about how they're actually rounding up people? I can tell a lot about how the government is functioning, from how the door teams address the target.
Yeah, I remember. We did a whole video deciphering it. I might find it, and I mean, I might find the specific one and link it somewhere. I doubt it. So people look through the George videos.
Wait, was it slide 100? No, it was the other.
104, 103?
On 103.
Yeah.
I think
it was that video.
I think you're the one that sent me that back in end of April in 2022, or it was the beginning of May. Yeah, I think you. Yeah. Once you sent that to me, then other people sent me other ones too. But yeah, I'm sorry, but just some of the people. There's so much Dunning-Kruger in the comment section because it's the Dunning-Krugers that tend to comment. Why would you be concerned about that? Well, the very fact that you're asking that question means that you're a dumbass.
Not you guys. You guys who comment under these videos are doing it just for the algorithm. We love you guys. Even your long-winded questions. Although I have to say, when my commenters pick up on my subtle what's it called, disapproval or contrarianism to my guests, and then comment with such comments, I have to appreciate it. Like recently, I had John Bosnich on, and he said some things about the Canadian government. I was just like, okay, sure, buddy. The older Trudeau was a nice guy, sure, buddy. And my commenters were like, no.
The older Trudeau, well.
But no comment.
Isn't Bosnich from Serbia?
He is, but he's also from Canada. Like
how long has he lived in Canada?
Oh, like his whole life, basically. I think he moved there when he was like 7 or something like that, like when he was a kid. And what's it called? He went to school there, and he went to university there, and he also knows the former prime minister. Like they were friends when they were in college or some stuff.
He knows Pierre Trudeau?
No, the other guy. He died recently. The guy who
Roney or somebody, or
I can't remember his name. I gotta start doing like three-way talks with my guests to get you people interconnected.
Right.
You people.
The reason why I say that is because Pierre Trudeau was a Quebecois socialist. He always was. So, and then Justin Castro, his son, Justin Trudeau.
Justin Castro.
Yeah. All right.
Commenters like this. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, on 104. Yeah, let's go to 104. Okay, yeah, all 104 does is just, yeah, I moved that up and
put in print what you said earlier. Yeah.
Well, just go to 105. Go to slide set 105.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slide 105, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I could go on forever just breaking down and analyzing those 3 short videos he did before he left the Hungarian border. Again, why did I lean that he was a totally unwitting asset, meaning, the dumbest guy in the world, end of it? Okay, not only does he take his electronic device that they're tracking him in to the event, he thinks that they got his financial information off of his computer that he had left in his motorcycle after his first arrest, or maybe it was his second arrest. I can't remember because he put this thing out last year, right? But no, they would have, if he's on Patreon and PayPal and Stripe and all those American companies, they're more than likely tracking his financial statements the whole time. If they pulled out extra information on his computer, they're going to find the 10% that he hid from him. They're going to already know 90%. I guess, again, I'm just making up percentages just to give people an idea. And if they're tracking his phone in real time, and they've already got their backdoor apps on it, every time he opens up his phone to look at his financials, guess what? They are too. Every time he uses his passwords to punch into to access his different financial accounts, guess what? They are too. So again,
yeah. Like anything that he's doing through his phone, they're watching it happen in real time, basically.
Yeah, or they're storing the information, right? Having automatic
or both realistically.
Well, yeah, they're just going to set up his computer. They're just going to set up the phone home device to continuously do screenshots. So yeah, again, he just doesn't. He is just so completely he's so completely lost in the sauce. And again, why are we talking about it is because people, please, people
who are still alive need to know. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, the people that are still alive need to know.
Do we get into kingpins and foot soldiers?
What is that on?
106.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to get into the link analysis
yet. All right, we'll save that for another video. Something.
We did it last year. People just watch the Bill Binney programs.
I've got something that popped up on my feed earlier today, and I wanted to bring this up with you because you are kind of the person to talk to about this. So these are prime contractors on the left in the U.S. They are then followed by subcontractors by component category, and then Chinese supplier count. Chinese suppliers in U.S. air-launched armament supply chains 2023. Raytheon, Leonardo, General Dynamics, Kaman, Boeing, Northrop, and Lockheed all basically buy everything from a bunch of Chinese suppliers. How do you feel about that, George?
Well, going back to the 5 and 6 power center doctrine videos that we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I do not do a news show. I do strategic analysis and projection analysis. So yes, my videos that we did last year, everybody needs to go back and watch because they're just as relevant today as they were then. They're increasingly relevant. Why am I saying that? Well, 5 power center doctrine. United States is power center doctrine, power center number 1. After World War II, wants to unite with Western Europe to be power center, industrial power center number 2. And then 3, the United States wanted to adopt the first island chain strategy of maintaining Japan, Korea, the Philippines, and Taiwan as allies so they could be right off the coast of China and contain China after Mao Zedong defeated Chiang Kai-shek and all the other warlords and then made it communist China. The Nixon diplomacy was, well, wait, let me back up a second. Kennan's 5 industrial power center theory was upgraded came out in 1947, upgraded it and changed it in 1950 in his famous X article in Foreign Affairs to try to separate Russia and China when they could. That Chinese and Soviet Union back then separation strategy was always part of the United States foreign policy. John Lewis Gaddis writes that in his many books. Again, from Yale Grand Strategies courses, I mention that all the time. His strategies on containment, his series of books on that subject are very, very good. He teaches in New Haven and Yale. He also was teaching at the U.S. Navy War College. So if you're reading his books, you're very close to what U.S. foreign policy is going to be. Going back to those slide sets that we did last year, Zbigniew Brzezinski and a whole bunch of powers that be people, including the current ones, also went through those schools with John Lewis Gaddis and the Kagan brothers. Or back then it was, Donald Kagan, and then later on it was, anyway. So they're all very knowledgeable of the 5 power center doctrine. In the videos I did with you, I switched it to a Russo-centric 6 power center doctrine. All right. Going up to the 5-year plans failed in China. They switched back to a market system. Nixon and Kissinger then tried to get China into the Western camp in the ping pong diplomacy during the 70s. During the 80s, they moved away from Russia, and communism collapsed in the 90s. During the 90s, Wall Street started exporting businesses to China like crazy so they could get cheaper labor and increase their profits. Well, what's the problem with that? China did not get into the Western camp as Nixon and Kissinger thought they would. And then as Bill Clinton accelerated that during the 90s, instead, they did their own economic development and geopolitical development strategy. We talked about that in the old videos. We're going to do more videos on that. I'll probably do those on my website, though. Yeah, those are going to be on my website. Yeah, actually, those are going to be behind the paywall. But the upshot of it is the strategy to get China separated from, now it's Russia. Back then it was the Soviet Union. But into the Western camp and away from Russia. No, now they're closer together. And now since we shipped our businesses over there, we are at their mercy in so many different supply chain issues. So if we go to war, those supply chain issues are going to arise and hamper the United States from building war material. Again, it's a mess up on a colossal scale. The effort to bring businesses back is going to take way too long. So again, I don't know what if the neocons are trying to get a war with both Russia and China. I have no idea how they're going to overcome this problem when these same people exported our jobs overseas in the first place. They created the problem. Clyde Prestowitz talked about it back in the 1980s in his book on Trading Places. Robert Reich talked about it a lot during the 1980s and 90s when he was the trade advisor to the Clinton administration. I have no idea why actually Donald Trump put into practice everything that he wrote in his books during the 80s and 90s And even in the early 2000s, when he became a professor at the Harvard Kennedy School, I don't know why he switched and then hated Trump, because if you looked at his first 10 books or whatever, his first handful of books that he wrote, you would think that he would love Donald Trump, because Donald Trump was actually trying to bring the businesses back. So again, there's so many different contradictions in that one story that you bring up. It's got so much back history to it. That's why I just had to bring people through it, because it's not something that just happened. People have been talking about this for decades. Eventually it's going to become a problem. Well, okay, we're now at the time where it's become a problem, but yeah, plenty of people have predicted
we're at the time where a lot of eventuallys are coming true, man. Eventually, eventually the budget will be too big to repay. Eventually the chips will be needed to be locally produced. Eventually the tomatoes and everything else you eat will also need to be locally produced, hey?
Yeah. Also, if you go, I forget the guy that wrote the book Bit Wars, but he also talks about how, okay, and it's going to be on my Raven Geostrategic site, but again, I alluded it earlier that superpowers want to keep major powers as vassal states. Well, in the effort to contain Germany from surpassing the United States in too many areas, the lithography machines made by Zeiss, they didn't let Germany, okay, because Germany's big in machine tools, pharmaceuticals, automotive industry, and with BASF in petrochemicals and a whole array of things. They didn't want Germany to also become a superpower in chip making production. Basically, the United States leaned on Germany for them to send the lithography machines to make the chips to Taiwan, which then became TMSC. The takeaway on this is the U.S. forcing the chip making out of Western Europe to Taiwan has then put the biggest semiconductor maker in the world within striking distance of China. And they also support.
It's not striking distance. It's not striking distance. It's on the doorstep, literally. And second of all, one country, two systems. By the way, that is not Taiwan. That is the Chinese Republic of Taipei, if I'm not mistaken, is what the other name is, right?
So to solve one problem in one decade by one administration in the United States, they created a problem, decades later. And again, that's
Isn't that the opposite? What's it called? Modus operandi of the British Anglo-American Empire, like 300-400 years back.
Right. So and now they're deindustrializing Germany. So now, because Zeiss and AMSL are the two biggest, best lithography producers in the world to make chips. So one's in Germany, and then the other, one's in the Ruhr Valley, and the other one's in the Netherlands. But they're producing their chips almost anywhere but. So they're putting the chip manufacturing places, within missile striking distance of China. Anyway, people can see where we're going with that. That was not very well thought of.
Considering this is a comedy show, and you are as close as I get to a security analyst, I want to flash this story that came up across my feed in front of you. Viral: Ukraine's government security service blurred a cat's face in an image they released. What do you have to say about that?
Wait, say that again. A cat's face? I'm not looking at it on the screen.
They blurred a cat's face in a photo that they released. They released a photo with operatives and stuff, and they also blurred a cat.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment on it. But everybody's an operative, right? Yeah.
Do you think somebody could be identified by their cat? Do you think they have facial recognition for cats' faces?
Oh, I guess. I don't know.
All right. I want to run this by you as well.
Just go back to the slide set real quick. Go to 109.
For real? Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Stay with me.
Wait, is this going to be? It's going to be on the screen during the conference.
Yeah. Hold on. I closed it. I closed it. Hold on. I got to open it up again. There we go.
Oh no! Don't bother. Yeah, don't bother.
No. Hold on, man. 109. 104, 106, 109. Yeah.
Yeah, this was just one of the slide sets I had up above. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these API videos about them hunting down Russian traders. Like after you sent me the first one, I kept on watching to see if they produced more, or maybe other people sent it to me. Well, once I throw out a project in the old Telegram channel, people would send me stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of those videos doing that. Again, I'm shocked that people are shocked that people's communications are obviously being monitored, because otherwise, how are these door teams going out to exact people's addresses? How are they knowing? Yeah, I mean, they're getting a target list of 100 or 200 people every month. And referring back to the, I did ask Cirillo about that in Panama, and he was completely unaware of it. So I knew it from watching the video feeds, but that just means that he's just looking through the, one part of the investigation, but he's not looking at the feedback loop. He's not looking at, okay, he's seeing that they get the information, right? But he doesn't know how many people they're getting the information. He thinks it's just Gonzalo. Oh no. He doesn't know anything about link analysis. He has no training in that. But they're getting a target list, and they're going out and rounding up a couple hundred people. Again, when I say a few hundred people, I'm getting that from the AP stories. So then it's going to take a month for them to process that 100 people, but then the next month they're going out and getting another 100 or 200 people or whatever. So that means they're operating on a certain, 30-day or 45-day cycle. That's important information to understand, because it's way bigger than Gonzalo's. And yeah, they're looking at his network. They're going to be cross-referencing people's networks to find out, to build a target list. So just to tell people how they would use link analysis to build target lists, well, it's in the API videos. They're going around rounding people up. How many of these people never came back, we'll never know. Probably a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, because after all, they are rather fans of nuts over there in Ukraine.
Yes,
so I came across this meme, and I wanted to get your take on it. 2024. Okay, one more thing.
Because Larry Johnson in his article against Scott Ritter says that there's no proof of any of this. No, the proof is in these API stories.
Yeah, it's just that people can't interpret things the way you do. Like they can't see, the forest for the trees, basically, or the trees for the forest. In this case, they're seeing that people are getting arrested, but they're not seeing like the little details. Now, I want to get your reaction to 2024 late stage Soviet Union, a senile leader, lost war in Afghanistan, imports its critical chips from abroad. Cold War with China, ideological purity, health crisis from substance abuse, nomenclatura, the RAND, Michael Gorbachev in the Orange Man Bad, and permanent deficit. Do you feel Soviet Union enough yet?
Oh, what, here?
Yeah, here. Well, there.
Yeah, no comment.
I think that's a perfect cue for that multiple choice. Is there anything you want to say as we end this recording, George?
No, but other than when we do the next videos, I want to do a follow-up on the other stuff that we covered. So we did a follow-up on the Cirillo thing. Again, it's mostly for your Telegram channel rather than a wider group.
Yeah.
But I want to go back and go over those questions and answers that we did. On that
we've got a bunch of screenshots saved that we're gonna get to of like those comments on that last video or those last two videos that people asked really good questions and that you wanted to like devote a whole recording to, but we haven't had time. Like you said at the beginning of the last recording, you've been busy with administrative stuff and I've been busy working. Haha, you get it? Because I'm the working brother. All right, George, thank you for spending the last 2 or so hours with us. Everyone who stuck around to the end of the second recording, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you around.